I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the dispute over the West Philippine Sea between the Philippines and China is escalating. Should we be worried? What's up, savvy expats? Welcome to our panel, The Daily Expat, where I keep you updated on the latest current events, news, and stories that are happening in the Philippines so that you, as an expat, never skip a beat. In our last video, we talked about the dispute over this highly valuable trading port and a couple of small clashes that happened between the Philippines and China. We realized that there's nothing new under the sun, as recently another clash occurred in the ever-troubled sea, and it looks like problems are escalating. Let's get into the details of what happened. Just recently, on October 22nd, a couple Sundays ago, another collision occurred between a Chinese fishing vessel and Philippine boats. This caused damage to the two boats that were on their way to resupply the BRP Sierra Madre, which was a transport ship that was ran aground on purpose to the Second Thomas Shaw. And essentially, the Second Thomas Shaw serves as an outpost to support Philippine sovereignty over the Spratly Islands. According to the National Task Force, a ship that was contracted by the Philippine Armed Forces was on a regular rotation and resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre. And on their way of doing so, they were then blocked by a Chinese Coast Guard fishing vessel 13.5 nautical miles northeast of the grounded ship. From China's point of view, they claim that the collision only happened after a Philippine boat ignored quote-unquote multiple warnings and deliberately passed through the law enforcement in an unprofessional and dangerous manner. But then again, guys, let's keep in mind that though China claims that this was the case according to their CCTV footage, at the end of the day, CCTV is a Chinese-ran broadcaster. So we may not really know what to believe, but that's not all that happened. On the same mission, another Chinese vessel bumped into another Philippine boat while it lay about 6.4 nautical miles northeast of the Second Thomas Shaw, also known as the Ayungin Shaw. According to an article by the China Daily, the Chinese Coast Guard quote-unquote lawfully intercepted the Philippine vessel for trying to deliver supposed illegal construction materials to the BRP Sierra Madre. However, the spokesman of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Colonel Aguilar, stated that the materials that they brought was only for the maintenance and repairs of the run-aground ship on the Second Thomas Shaw. Furthermore, he also said that even if they did bring construction materials to the outpost, they have every right to rehabilitate it. From the sound of it, the Philippines wasn't doing anything unlawful to deserve physical contact from China. So that may bring us to the question, what does the other countries think about this dispute? Well, on the diplomatic side of things, the Department of Foreign Affairs filed a diplomatic protest as a result of this event. The European Union, including several other countries including the US, Canada, and Japan, has since condemned China's actions as well. That being said, it's clear, while the nations do take the side of the Philippines, what do other institutions think about this collision? And so after the collision between the Chinese and Filipino boats, the Strat-based ADR Institute, which is a think tank, recommended that Philippines promptly conducts joint patrols with quote-unquote like-minded countries, which would include the United States within the South China Sea. In my point of view, while it would be great for the US to ally with the Philippines to help defend and patrol the West Philippine Sea, at the end of the day, I just hope that this wouldn't lead the US into deeper waters with China. If there's one thing we can't afford, although we do ally the Philippines, is another war to support. On a different note, the Trade Union of Congress of the Philippines perceives that China's actions not only affects only Filipino Coast Guard, but every Filipino. This is due to the nature that China is indirectly violating the sovereignty of the Philippines and the Philippines' claimed land over the West Philippine Sea. The Philippines National Security Council believes that it is China, not the Philippines, who is increasing tension within the West Philippine Sea. This is especially the case with them blocking the Philippine resupply mission that they were on with invalid evidence that the Philippines was shipping any sort of illegal construction material. And let's admit it, lawfully speaking, China has zero legal evidence to enforce anything here. China's claim that they were conducting law enforcement is completely baseless. Why do I say so? Well, the second Time is Shoal, which is where China enforced collision against Filipino boats, is within 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. Meaning, this by law is Philippine property, giving China zero right to impose any sort of law enforcement. Now, what are Philippine officials saying about this matter? Well, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin believes that civilian joint patrols should be limited to the Philippines' fellow ASEAN members. He also believes that we should not be involved in a contest where two quote-unquote protagonists would use Southeast Asia as a battleground to settle their differences. He also added that the Philippines is a prime candidate for a proxy war where two countries want to test out their military capabilities at no cost themselves. Now that leads me to ask you, what are your thoughts? Do you think Southeast Asia, especially the Philippines, could become a ground for a proxy war between the United States and the People's Republic of China? Should the Philippines only conduct joint patrols with fellow ASEAN states or also other global powers? Be sure to comment your thoughts below. This is really a buzzing topic that is concerning too many expats, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. And so thank you for watching Savvy Expats. It was a pleasure, and I'll see you in the next headline. God bless.